Hello, everybody. My name is Darwin Fortuna, and I'm one of the principals of Flow Design Architects. In this video, we're going to be talking about essentially what's the process to put together a response to one of the requests for proposals or requests for qualifications by the designer selection board. I want to start first by explaining a little bit about process. Generally, the process is it's supposed to be designed so that everybody has a shot at getting these public projects. It's designed for contractors within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, architects, designers, to have a level playing field, right? So to that end, the requests are issued to the public in a timely fashion, and everything is detailed as much as possible so that everybody can understand what's required of them, what's expected of them, and how to go about it. That said, this video, I can't really explain the whole logistics of the background items, but I can certainly talk to you about how how to generally put together a successful package. It's ironic, Flow has never been awarded a public job as of now, so take that with a grain of salt. But we've been very, very thorough on getting better, incremental growth and incremental, I guess, sharpening the saw every single day, right? In our tools. So that's it. The first place to start is by understanding what's requested of you on the public notice. What are they asking about, right? So the design selection board has a website, and we're going to go into it in a little bit. But I think first and foremost, you have to understand that there are certain items that are requested of you, and they will all be outlined as much as possible within a single PDF package. In this case, this one for the Department of Conservation and Recreation, they break down the notice number, the dates that you need to be submitting by the way, March 13th, and look, it's March 12th. So we're supposed to be submitting this tomorrow by 2 p.m. So it tells you a little bit of what it is that you're trying to do. Now, I don't think people should go after projects that aren't a good fit for them. Really, if this isn't something that you're interested in, you should probably not try to go after it, right? This is an opportunity for you to be competitive. This is an opportunity for you to show the designer selection board, which is literally a board, why you should be considered for this, why you're the most qualified and most competent contractor. In this case, it breaks down all of the things that will be required. So mainly, the prime will be required to be an architect. And of course, there's going to be other disciplines that will be also required. And it tells you the things that you're going to need to do. So you need to know how to do studies. You need to know how to do schematic plans and outline specifications. You need to know how to do design development. Like all of these things that you as an architect should be trained to do and know how to do, that needs to be there, right? So it tells you the amount of money that will be awarded under this contract. And then has some sort of caps, but it goes through all of that. So I think the first step for anyone trying to put together a good package, a very thorough and responsive package, is to go through what's requested of them. Now, I'm not gonna go into the details of this one right now, but I would say print it, get 2 highlighters. I always like to use 2 highlighters. Like blue is something that I understood and makes sense, and I know how to hit it. Like, oh, I got information on this. I know how to hit that. Great. And let's say the magenta or pink, it will be something that, I don't quite really understand this. I may want to meet with somebody else from the company, from Flow Design, or another person that may know a little bit more about it so that they can explain it to me, because I didn't quite understand that. You could also ask questions to the design selection board. Just be careful how you ask the questions. You can't be asking questions that will kind of basically give you an unfair advantage, because again, remember, this is a democratic process. This is a public process. So just be careful with the kind of questions you ask. But if it is clarification, typically they're really good about that stuff. Okay. So that's it. After you understand all of this will tell you whether you should even go after this or not. Because after you read it, you'll be like, well, wait a minute. This is not something I do. This is not something I've ever done. This is not something I can even remotely be able to put something together for. It will be a waste of the design selection board's time and my time to do it. Now, I have actually submitted for things that I wasn't really that great at, And it was because I wanted to submit as a exercise of submitting. And I can explain more about this, and I don't want to waste your time, but really, we've made these a flow, right? Milestones. So submitting a package, submitting a successful package, registering people within the designer selection board, getting all the consultants that will be required generally for these services. All of those have become milestones. Instead of saying, we're going to submit a kick-ass package right on the beginning and we're going to get it, no, that for me was unrealistic. I'm a principal here. I have to oversee a lot of projects and review a lot of architectural projects. I can't do that. So I am in charge of marketing and also like going a lot after a lot of these RFPs. I can't just have to break it into little milestones. I don't know how you work, but I work that way. I break it into little milestones and say, you know what? We've submitted a package. We've submitted a better package. We've submitted a better package. And that you will see in our folder structure that reflects that same process. Every next RFP package submitted is way better than the previous one. And every next package is always going to be better than the next one. So eventually we'll have the most polished, most sharp package you could possibly put together. And then you still can make it better, right? You think of it as a roadmap. So that's it. After you read this, you're going to know whether it's a good fit, reading the RFP requests for services is a milestone, right? You just check that off. Understanding it is one item off of the milestones, right? So very straightforward stuff. That's it. The next thing I want you to know, like, where do you get this, Darwin, right? Like, so you need to know where you get this. So first you have to also be selected. You have to not be selected, be registered. You can register, any company can register. We are actually registered. So I'm going to go through that. And after you're registered, this is what the portal is going to look like. So it's going to come in. It has the logo of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which we love. Think of it like a little website, right? Anybody has used Facebook and all of these funny apps. So, it's like a little website, nothing crazy about it. So when you go to home, it has this portal, and I don't want to do a thorough video on the portal itself. I just want to give you an overview of where we get this information and how it looks. So, and then under public notices, you're going to be getting all of the notices that are issued to the public for all of these projects, all of these public projects. They are listed with the departments that are, the places where they're coming from. Basically, they represent towns and municipalities, public entities within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And they say a little bit of the title information here on the left. And they also say, when is it due, right? So this is due the 13th, this is due the 13th, this is due the 20th. And they cycle around. I'm making these videos not only for flow design architects, but actually anybody else that's trying to go after these projects. More so if anybody else means somebody that is a minority enterprise, either women or minority or disadvantaged business, because flow design focuses on increasing diversity in the field of architecture and design. And the only way we can achieve that is through education and through going after these projects. Because if there is no participation, there's not going to be minorities, there's not going to be a pipeline, there's not going to be, and then we're going to end up with this loop of, well, there's not enough people to hire. Well, there's not enough entities to go out, minority entities. And then it turns into this crazy loop, right? That nobody ever breaks. So we try to break that. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of passion. So we're doing that. And I hope, don't take any of these as legal advice. Don't take any of these as me telling you how to do your business. I am doing this for flow design architects. But if you want to tag along, do your thing, I'm not giving you advice. I'm giving advice to my own company, right? Like that's what I'm trying to do. So this is what these packages look like. And you can say view. And then when you say view, you can download that package. Okay. So that's it. We're going to go through our drafts right now because we have already started the submission for this. I mean, imagine if I hadn't started and today's the 12th and this is due on the 13th, that would be very irresponsible of me to try to submit successfully for something like this. So the first thing that we do, like just so you know, like at the beginning you have instructions and they tell you all the instructions. You have to read them, the public notice, which we have already downloaded, the project summary right here, continue. Then you have to do some disclosures and registrations. Your company has to have already been registered here. Great. You have to make sure you fill out all of this information and the services that you provide. Make sure you update these annually. It needs to be registered, updated annually. Then, you go into your consultants and you have to send an invitation to get your consultants on board. So in this case, we send all of our invitations to all of the consultants that will be working on our project. And after you send that invitation, make sure to follow through calling each one of these guys. Actually, you should call them prior, right? So that they know this is coming. And if this is a fit, for instance, Haley Ward, they have a procedure. They can't just go after everything and anything that shows up in the world. They go for what's the highest and best use of their time. It's a good term, highest and best use of their time, right? So, they went through a process. It took a little while to actually answer this, but they did think this was a good fit for them. So they accepted it. You send the invite, you add them here, and I'm not going to explain how to use the software, but generally you just add the consultants that are required. And if something isn't required in the RFP, but you believe it's really important and critical and they might have missed it, you should probably add it. Okay. So that's it. After you send the invites, you can load the subs and it will tell you, yeah, look, all of them have accepted it. Or cost estimator hasn't accepted it yet. So we have to follow up on that. It tells us all of these different entities that need to be added, right? You can save these as a draft. I'm going to save it because I have already, it's already updated. I loaded them. So they have already accepted the invite. Why would I just not save it, right? Like that will be a waste of time. Now that's it. This is where you're going to actually submit. I love this portal. There are things I hate, there are things I love, but I love this portal for one main reason. Back in the day, you have to drive your packages, print it, and a bunch of thumb drives to the particular location, which were sometimes remote, right? Really far from your office and things like that. And it would take a lot of time and energy, and it would be very difficult, and it would be very stressful, right? On this day and age, I think that we, like young minorities, have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to this. We may not have the experience, but we know how to navigate these websites very well, right? And they make him as intuitive as they can possibly make it. Now, one thing, they provide a Word document and an InDesign document of what your application template should look like. Like, meaning it's like blank, use this form. Why do they dictate the form? They don't want, for instance, like, the Genslers and Perkins and Wells have their own marketing departments, right? And I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm saying they have a lot of funds, they have a lot of energy, they have a lot of money. So they can actually put these packages together with this amazing graphics and all of this stuff that can wow the designer selection board and all of these other like little John Doe's offices. And I don't want to undermine us. We don't have the resources. So sometimes our packages will not look like that. So they are using this form to be very methodical, but also they don't want to get into the noise of all these shenanigans. They want to look into, are you qualified? What have you done? How are you going to do this project? How are you going to go about it? And are you meeting the criteria? Because they have a very black and white, really black and white. One, did they follow the form? Yes or no? No. They didn't follow the form, you're out, period, right? So this is very straightforward, very methodical, very clear. So I have already downloaded that and I've already adapted it and I keep evolving it, right? It's really like sharpening this thing. It's like Flow Design app version 0.1, version 0.2, version 0.3. So I've already done that. So then you submit all of this in here. There's other steps. There's other steps throughout this, but this is a quick overview. References, we've already gotten at least 3. Thank God we didn't have any. We didn't even know about it. We had no idea that was a thing. So we would just attach references to our packages, which still would be a good idea, but we didn't know, right? So this is generally the overview of the portal. Generally, you submit this way. It will not let you move forward unless you've submitted all the red items that are required within the project. So absolutely make sure that you submit all the items. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. Check it 10 times if possible, 20 times if possible. Sit somebody next to you. If you're just a solo architect, call your spouse, your partner, your friend, and say, hey, let me read through this. Did I understand it correctly? Did we do it correctly? Because it will be very, very, very bad to think that you've submitted all of this, to get all of these consultants rattled up about doing this project and not submitting successfully everything that was required. That would be very disappointing, actually. Now, nonetheless, if you are doing what I do, that was already a success. You learn what you did wrong, right? So that's it. Let's move into the next step. So, we know now that we need to read the RFP very well and understand whether it's a good fit or not Two, we need to be familiar with this portal and get all of our consultants lined up, right? And three, I would say look at a submission package that was successful. Look at a submission package that was successful. In this one, Johnson Roberts Associates has submitted this pretty neat package. This is their cover sheet, all their information. This is their resumes and the qualification. This is the form that I just told you that they have in InDesign and also have in PowerPoint, in Word. So very straightforward. This is the package, okay? Very straightforward package, all of the resumes. So they have different sections. So the cover sheet, then they call it like section 3, which is resumes for all of the consultants too, the resumes. Then they also have like experience from the prime. So, the key things, the prime name here, the role that they're going to be doing, their name goes up also here. Very straightforward stuff. They decided to use the template this way. They show some renderings of the project. They show some description of the project. And, this is required information that they're asking for. So this is it right here, the key members and all that stuff. So they did this, they did this, they did this. Now that brings another point. I know you may be a very small firm and you may not have a lot of resources. I understand. I have been there. Now we're about 10 people, but we were just 3 people not long ago. So take photos, even if it is with your little Android or your little iPhone. Take photos of your projects. Oftentimes I don't think we need to deceive anybody, but I think that sometimes we don't give enough credit to ourselves with the work that we've done. So because we don't have photos and we don't feel very proud of certain things, design selection board is seeing what you're showing them. They don't know anything else. So tell your story in a compelling manner, be truthful about it and be honest about it, but tell the story in a very compelling manner so that you can show your capabilities. Oftentimes on paper, really, you can look just as good as Gensler. On paper, you can look just as good as Perkins and Will and CVTs and all of those guys, all of those big 200 people plus 1,000 people firms. On paper, you can do that. And this is giving you a chance. Look, it's all about some simple photos, cost, information. If you don't have those numbers, get them. Call the owner's project manager, call the owner. Sometimes we don't get a lot of the information on the cost, but we have it right there. And they did it in multiple ways. So they did this kind of like, big money shots, right? 3 of them. And they did another format, which was, here's all we've done throughout all of this other time, right? Sadly, like looking at this already, it makes me a little concerned. Like these guys have already done all these projects as house doctors for this DCR. That's like, oof. But guess what? This is a good package. You got to emulate that. You got to aspire to that, but you have to beat that. So you have to beat it. And the only way to beat it is by first, if you can be one-to-one to them, you just need to make 2 or 3 or 4 tweaks forward. And you're going to be better than them. All right. And oftentimes they don't sharpen than sauce. They just get too comfortable. And honestly, this is a very competitive game. I have to tell you, this is a very competitive game. And I am as competitive as he can get. So that's it. If they sleep, I will take their spot. Literally, if they sleep, I'm going to take their spot. And it's just going to happen. Boom. What happened with this? What? Yes, it's going to happen. So I want you to please get encouraged. There is a little bit of a discouragement for a second when I looked at it and I was like, well, they did it. I can do it. I've done bigger buildings probably, right? So no problem on that. So that's them. So they did a big money shot and they did all of this. They did many projects. You likely have all of these projects too. And if you don't, you just start it out. I would say take until you make it, meaning like put what you've done. But you couldn't just like have landed into the architecture world from outer space with 0 experience. You know what I mean? Like if you just got licensed, well, to get licensed, you must have done projects because you had to do over 3,000 hours of practice. Do you have a good relationship with the previous offices that you worked at? That's important. Don't burn any bridges, right? I say that too. So because you could use those so long as you give proper credit as to what you did and how you did it. Okay? That's it. And you are a licensed architect. We're all really trained. All of us are trained to do build-its. Like we can all do build-its, right? Like some can do it a little bit more efficient, some can do it a little bit more beautiful, but we can all do these services. This is the bare bones minimum that any architect should be able to do. So that's it. They did this, and then it moves into, this is the other form. They used it like that, and I'm probably gonna do the same. So, and then they have the consultants, and I would want to do it in the order, like in the order. You see how they show it here, like architect, mechanical. So in the same order, show those guys in the same order. Okay. Now, I'm already gonna tell you a couple of things that we're going to do that are going to make us better than this one, right? I'm gonna make us better than this one. So we'll get to that in a second. But that's it. Understand this package, understand how this package is put together. Then the mechanical go in, you still the prime here, but what they're going to offer. This is all their experience. Make sure your consultants have relevant experience. If you don't, as a team, you have to have it all together. If you don't, you have to have it as a team. Remember that, as a team. So please ensure that as a team, you have all of those elements together so that you can put a very competitive package. If you haven't done it, many of those, your consultants can help you. Like they are supposed to help you. Okay. So that's it. We have this, the niche engineering. Okay, great. They're a minority enterprise. We have Media Quota, which is a cost estimator, minority women enterprise. Great. Here's all the projects. Beautiful. Okay, all the projects from the other consultants for environmental, great, beautiful. Then this is the section 5 is supplementals. So they show all of the supplemental stuff about them and the things that they do. I like that they kept the same format for the supplementals. I really do, actually. So it's very nice. They're literally saying, we've done all of these projects successfully for the last X. We've had little change order. We've done all of this. They track this. They're very good at tracking things. I know, as a small practice, it's very difficult to keep tracking all of these things. You have to track hours. You have to track all of that stuff. But honestly, you can do it, it's little by little, but you can do it, like little incremental progress, right? And this is the package, and they've been selected. As you can see, they've already gotten a lot of projects, okay? So this is a sample one, and I have a list of sample ones that I'm going to provide to you, not to the public, but to you, that person from Flow Design that's watching this, likely Nicole Villa. Hi. So I've put together a nice little Word document, and the Word document makes it all easy for you. Sample projects that we've done, and I'm explaining what I'm telling you right now is actually here. I'm using that as a sample. So, understanding the portal, understanding the, InDesign and all that stuff. So now we understand what a successful package looks like. You got it. You know that, right? Let's try to get there. Now, we're not getting there from scratch. Started from the bottom, now we're here, right? So we are actually getting there from something we've already submitted. This is a package we put together for a roof replacement project. And section 3. So we show our team organization, and here's our package, right? We got pictures or blue color for the headers, beautiful, or blue color, and our font, the Avenir font all throughout here. Very straightforward stuff, right? That already to me starts looking way better. Now I'm not here to compare with these guys, right? I'm not here to. But this versus this. Dude, I can go all day long with you, Baba. All day long, Jeffrey. All day long. You have all of this relevant experience with DCR. You also happen to be way older than me. So therefore, you must have that experience. But like what's not equal is not really an advantage. I have won more awards probably altogether than him in my short little life. So there's things you've done, guys. I'm not trying to brag here. I shouldn't be comparing. Sorry. But anyway, point being is we have this. Just make it into a compelling way. Like, look, all the projects we've done. In this case, I will tailor these, and that's going to be another one of my steps. So, the InDesign package that we have has this. We can try to tailor it towards what's meaningful. All right. Now, I don't have DCR experience, but if these guys want to value how much you've given to the community and how many awards I've won, how much I've done to the general practice of architecture. Like if they value education, if they value all of this, that's my resume. That's what I got. That's what I got to give, you know? So I use that template for all of us and we try to fill it up as much as possible. And look, we matched our pictures even with the consultants, right? He doesn't have a whole lot there. We match our pictures even with the consultants. So we're very cohesive. Theirs didn't have pictures for the consultants. And that's another thing I want you to take advantage of. Make sure that the entire package looks like it came from one office. Make no mistake about it. The template helps, but that's one office with photos. That's another office that has no photos. That's another office that has no photos. And they all look like they came from different offices. I want it all to look like it came from the same office. So if you have to reformat all the resumes information in this way, we have to do it for all of our consultants. When we do that badass package, that one amazing package, it will make it so easy. And this submission is the chance for us to make that badass package. All right? This is it. This is the one. Okay. So after this one, we better start getting projects. Okay. If we don't get this one, okay, all good. After this one, all of our submission packages should be great. So this is this one. Again, we have, you see, like the colors are the same. I mean, look at this laser focus. Like this alignment doesn't look right. I don't know why. Like this one, it should be at the top. Why aren't they the same? I don't know. We have to check that out, right? So these ones are the same. Why aren't these ones the same, right? So I want to look at this like a set of drawings. That's a good one. Look at it like if it was a permit set of drawings. Every inconsistency jumps out at you quickly when you see a wall section that's wrong or a bathroom that's wrong. Or like you immediately just look at it and say, like, that just doesn't look right? So that's the same way. Or section 4 is all of our experience, right? So we've done one really good public project right here, which was the town of Essex. This one's, I was a consultant, a draftman, generally, for the Corel Group. Now, the Corel Group is out of business, so I don't think they're going to go after me saying, hey, you're not giving credit. But, hey, I am giving credit, Mr. Greg Corel. I am giving credit. I was part of the drafting team, and I say it, drafting team. You see, even that, you have to be very honest. You have to be very, very honest about what it is that you're doing. Very, very honest, okay? So these are our projects. We've done this big multifamily project of 18 units, 24 plus 30 units. This is 8 units. This one was a roof replacement for residential. So that's why we did it like that. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Section 4B is all of our consultants. I even like better that I divided it by section. These guys put it all together, but there is no like dividers. I divided it. I hope they like it. Like even look, the font here is different than the font here. Like why? Well, like why, right? Like why? Okay. So look, all of it looks consistent. All of it looks consistent. It looks like it came out of one office because it came out of one office. Now, yeah, it's not perfect. Okay. This font should be like that font. This font should be like that font. We have to match that. Okay. Let's make sure we do that. Right. So then our section 5, we talk about flow design architects. This is an attachment we always had. I think maybe, I don't know if we should make it into the same format that they have, like section 5 supplemental. I don't know if we should do that. I like our format. I like our package. Really, it's very nice and clean. Or letter, right? Like a nice tailored letter towards the person that's reading these, right? This is a supplemental. This is how they did it. Like literally, this is how they did it. We talk about diversity, inclusion, and belonging, right? Very nice. Our team, the things that we do, very nice. All of our certifications. If you have minority enterprises within your team, put them right in. Very nice. Approach and work plan. This is the sweet things, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a little bit. So all of this is where we're at. This is where we're going. This is where we're at. We're not too far from where we're going. All right. We're just a couple hours away from that. And some. All right. So we're not even too far. References, we put them right here. So these are all good references. We put them right there. And we ended the package this way. I just thought that this was very dry. the way it ended. They do want us to match this. I would say we probably should. I do like our package, but we probably should make that package into some, I don't know, into some way that looks kind of similar to this. I'm having a hard time making up my mind on that. All right. So that's it. That's where we are. So let's get into what we need to do for this particular submission. All right. Let's get into that. Okay. So I'm going to stop this video right here. That was the general approach. What's the DSB? What's the RSP? What does that look like? What's the portal like? What's a good package? What does our package look like? We're going to talk about now how we're going to go about assembling the package and certain really key things that we're going to